Hello, my most amazing art students. Today we're going to be creating a picture based on shape. When I was at the store this last week, I saw this book called Little Owl's Night, and I just loved the little owl on there, and I thought, how fun would that be to create our own little owl? So we're going to start again. I hope we're going to be using some templates. I have this yogurt lid. Might have been cocoa because it's kind of got that. I also, so that was my eye size, and then this roll of masking tape is going to be for my interior. And then I just have this little container that I used. I think I used it like that for this. And then I'll show you what I did for the other pieces. Okay, so the first paper that we're going to need is this white paper and pencil. So just taking your lid or whatever size, I noticed that the little owl, his eyes were very large. So I looked for shapes that would fit that. Okay. And then for the green part of his eyes, I used this piece of paper. So you guys just need construction paper. And, oh, no, I didn't. I used the tape around this tape side. So just you can even do painted paper, which painted paper is just using leftover paint to create painted paper. And you can start with any color on the top. Okay, and then for the eyeball, the pupil of the eye, I did this size. And the nice thing about this little guy is that he doesn't have to be perfect. He's very, his eyes aren't perfect circles. They're sketchy, cut kind of crookedly. And then you're going to go ahead and just cut out all those shapes that you just traced. So I posted on my lesson so that you could go listen to the story. It's a cute little story about little owl and his night and visiting friends and what he saw on his adventures through the night. You will need a glue stick for this project to glue the pieces together. But I just wanted to go through and show you guys how I got all the pieces. That's kind of like Cookie Monster's eyes right there, huh? So I do like to flip the pieces over after I cut them out and not use the side that I drew with pencil on. So if you have a particular paper that is a painted paper, like I've shown you guys in past videos, I made watercolor painted paper with you in one video, and I just flip it so the pencil marks are on the back side. Then you always want to draw on the back side of your patterned or colored paper so that you don't leave pencil marks on the side that you want to use. So just sorry, I'm cutting off camera because I'm not realizing how I'm doing this in front of you guys. It's really interesting filming yourself and trying to stay in frame. Those people that do YouTube videos for a living, they've got it down packed. So I hope that you guys are able to come back to school one day and I can teach you in my classroom, which would be much easier than trying to make these videos but I still love creating art content for you guys and coming up with new lessons as we learn about shape and all these elements of art, line and shape and value come all together. So we're just going to layer these up and put them, kind of center them. Ooh, and I didn't flip this guy over. I could tell right away. And use our glue stick to put these together. I always tell the kids that they just need to put glue along the edges because you don't need to really put glue in the center of your shape to get it to stick. As long as your edges are nice and gluey, it'll stick just fine. And then I always tell them to turn it over and give it a massage. That way you don't get glue all over your fingers when you're doing that. So let's put glue around the edge here. Stick that down in the middle of that eyeball. Glue here. Let's stick that one. Let's massage it a little bit. Okay, so now the tricky part with figuring out the head size, I have this fancy orange painted paper that I have in class. I was thinking, how am I going to make this shape? And again, I'm going to turn it over so the fancy side is facing down so I can put my trace marks on here. But if we look at the picture of owl again, let's see if I can get to the right one. My phone shut off. If we look at this illustration, his eyes are quite close together, so we're going to try to mimic that. And we can't really see his head behind his eyes, except for a teeny little bit. So what I thought I would do here is place these on the paper and then kind of close together like they are in the illustration, and then give myself a guideline to go from. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect. You're just sketching this out, and it stays really close to the eyes. And it doesn't have to be perfect. Everyone's is going to be a little bit different. And this one's going to be different than the first one I made. Okay, and then I'm just going to cut that shape out. And then we'll set our eyes on it and see how it looks. This is just a regular piece of construction paper, that really cheapo stuff that I put leftover paint on at the end of the school year last year. Well, the year before, because we weren't even here last year. So we have this, and if we put the eyes on there, I might need to do a little bit of trimming, but that looks pretty good. I have this larger circle, bueno, queso, que bueno, and I'm going to trace this guy on the bad side, on the non-painted side. And this is going to be my body, just for simplicity's sake. You can make your own circle, and it doesn't have to be any particular size. Okay, just so long as it looks good with. And you're probably thinking, Miss Black didn't put her template near the edge like she always says to do. Yeah, I know. That way we would have a little extra paper. So cut this guy out. And here's my body, and I'm going to show you. I'm just going to glue him like that. He kind of reminds me of Wall-E from that cartoon. The little, what is he? He's a android or something, isn't he? A robot? I don't know. And so I'll glue these eyes on here. And then we'll put glue along the top of this body. Whoops! There, I didn't glue his eye on. I thought I did. The thing with painted paper is that it doesn't like to take glue stick very well. So there's his. So I'm going to turn it over and give it a bit of a massage. Okay. This eye does not want to stay on. What a wonky guy. Need a little bit more. Because the paint that we use is tempera paint, and it's a little bit powdery. So that powder coating feeling kind of stops the glue from working. Now, we need a beak. And I'm going to show you how to do that really quickly with just a snippet. I'm going to cut a rectangle of paper here. And I'm going to fold it in half because his beak is actually a diamond shape So if we cut on the folded edge, right here, if we cut a triangle, see all that powdery paint coming off? And so now our paper, if we open it back up, it looks like this, and then our beak looks like that when we open that back up. So we can glue that down. If we cut a little triangle into our, and glue that down, there's his little beak. And what else do we need? So I took some crayons, and on the illustration he has kind of, I think, wings, it looks like, and then I just colored in with a brown crayon on my orange paper on both sides, a little sliver shape of half circle type shape colored in some wing shapes here. And it left me with this open part on his tummy. And then I just did scallops, doop, 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 all the way across. And then I started in the middle of that scallop to the middle of that one. And I just kept creating those all the way down for his abdomen feathers to give it some detail on the drawing here. So there's little owl's belly and his face. And what we need for our final piece is the background that he sits on. I just use a black piece of cardstock. Now, you could choose, if you had chalk, well, you will need a piece of chalk. So if you want to do the moon in the background. So I took a brown piece of paper like this, that's painted paper, and I literally just cut a sliver off of that for the branch that he was sitting on, or standing on, perching on. Is that what it is? Perching on. And put that right there, and we can trim off any extra that we have. And then we'll glue the little owl down. And he's got kind of a lot of parts going on, so let's get the edges. And then we'll put him right here on his perch. I think we're done with glue now, and I'm going to trim off this. You can leave the branch if you want to. If you don't want a piece hanging off, you can trim off the branch just like that. And what I did is I took a piece of chalk. You can just use regular chalkboard chalk, and I created a circle up in the upper right, and then I took my finger, and you can even lift him up a little bit, not all the way glued down yet, and just made this moon in the background. And I took a white crayon, and I did a plus sign and then an X, or you can do an X and a plus sign for stars. X plus, and you can have one coming out from behind his head, all over the place. And he has these little ear feathers that we're going to draw. And so we actually are about right here. They come out. Where's my other one? Okay, so right here, it's like a W on there. So we're going to create a W of 3 hairs, or maybe it's a V with a middle one. I did it with white, and then I went over it with the orange. That way it shows up better. When you put the white down first and then color over it, it's a lot brighter. Same thing with his little feet. I did 3 little feet coming, and I did it in white first, and then I took the yellow and I colored over the top. And there you have it. Little owls little owl's night, little fall guy for you. So I think these ones I have bigger pupils on because I do think I used this size. Well, interestingly enough, I used that size, but maybe I just cut them a little bit smaller. So everyone's is going to look a little bit different. This guy, I put a little less of the circle hanging out for his body. You guys, it's up to you however you want to create your owl. Think about the shapes. This is the orange piece of his head is an oval shape. And we have varying degrees. These are called concentric circles, meaning that they get larger or smaller. They're all inside one another. We have a triangle that we cut on a seam, so it's a diamond. And these scallop shapes here. And this branch is even triangular. So we have lots of shapes that we're working with. I hope you enjoyed this lesson. Have fun creating.